everybody, this is Kevin, and welcome back to another anime review. And today I'll be sharing my thoughts on the classic Neon Genesis Evangelion, which released in Japan in 1995 and then in North America in 1997. Although I didn't really even know about the series until it aired on Toonami's Giant Robot Week in the year 2003, when it only aired the first two episodes very heavily edited and censored, because having just finished rewatching this, a kid wouldn't be able to understand what the hell's going on. I mean, I remember watching it back then, and of course, the Evas are iconic looking beings, so I do remember that. I remember the crazy battles and stuff, but as far as the plot goes, that would have gone way over my head as a kid, especially towards the end. But it also did air on Adult Swim, and I want to say, the 04 to 06 range, somewhere around there. I did watch it then, and enjoyed it. And then, I wish I had the DVDs way back when, because they went out of print, which is why they re-released this Blu-ray box set just recently in December. But back in the late 2000s, early 2010s, we got the Rebuild trilogy, now a quadrilogy, because you have the fourth one that just came out last year only on Amazon Prime, so you will stream it and like it, which sucks, and we'll probably never get a physical release, because it's just so messed up how these things have been released throughout the years, because initially the dub was done by ADV, if I'm not mistaken, and they had the DVD for some time. I'm not sure if they went under or what happened, but Netflix eventually acquired the rights to stream it, so they got the 26-episode anime along with the two movies, Death True Squared and The End of Evangelion. So Netflix has the rights, and luckily they also put out their version of the Blu-ray in November, and then of course the 15-disc box set for us hardcore fans who want to watch the old school dub. But Funimation initially had the license to these, and published these in the late 2000s, early 2010s, but they lost the rights, and Amazon Prime has them now. So these are very rare, very hard to get, especially this one. If you want to search the title on eBay, just look how expensive it is. I think this one's still easy enough to find, but this one's hard to find as well. And I'm pissed off I don't have the slipcover. God damn it. But anyway, so as far as the review, this is going to include heavy spoilers, and it's going to be a review of the ADV dub with Spike Spencer as Shinji and Allison Keith and Tiffany Grant as Asuka and Misato. So, old school. I've never seen the Netflix dub. Some people have left me comments saying the Netflix dub is actually okay, especially if you've never seen the series before. But I don't know. I can't really tell you. I've heard mixed things about it. So this will be a review of the old school dub and also heavy spoilers. So if you haven't seen the series, you're doing yourself a disservice by not watching it. So you should go watch it and come back to this video. So let's start with the Wikipedia page, where they have the genre, where they're somewhat accurate here. They have apocalyptic, which I agree. Mecha, which is sort of debatable, because as you learn more what the Evas actually are they really mechas? I don't know. That's for your interpretation. And then psychological drama, which definitely, man. Although I will say the series starts kind of lighthearted in a certain sense, especially the scenes with at Misato's house and the training montage of Asuka. It's kind of lighthearted, but once you get to around episode 18, it goes full on with the psychological drama. It gets pretty fucked up. But yeah, so it's set in the fictional world of Tokyo 3 in the year 2015, after 15 years have passed since the second impact, and you have Nerve, who is in the League of the UN, fighting the Angels, who are really, alien beings. And it's pretty crazy because, they go into more detail about the second impact, how it was caused by the angel Adam, and all the angels are named after, angels and biblical beings like, Lilith and so on and so forth. And I have a question too. So, they mentioned that Adam was the first angel and he caused the second impact. I may have went over my head what caused the first impact. Maybe I have to watch it again and read more about that. But 15 years pass, and now all of a sudden the angels are attacking again. And, the anime is 26 episodes, and throughout the 26 episodes, there's 18 or 19 angels that attack. So why'd they wait 15 years to start attacking them all? It's just crazy. But you have the main character of Shinji, who's a 14-year-old boy. And, his father is Gendo Ikari, who's in charge of Nerve, the organization in control of the Evas, leading the assault against the Angels in the League of the UN. You meet more Eva pilots because, of course, in a mech anime, only children can pilot the mechs, the Evas. And so there's multiple 14-year-olds. You have Rei Ayanami, who we'll get to more about her as we go through the video. Asuka Langri Soryu, who, the fiery red-headed Asuka. You have Misato, who is, Shinji's guardian, because there's a lot of problems with Shinji and his father for other things we'll get to as the review goes on. And more characters. Kaji, Fuyutsuko, I think his name is. Fuyutsuki, one of the commanders. Ritsuka. I like how they kept a lot of the Japanese names intact, too, because in a lot of old dubs, they'll change the names and Americanize it. So I do like how they kept the names intact. There's also the Illuminati-like group Seilei. And the director here, the director's name is Hideki Anno, who's also the creator and writer. And this is one of the rare instances where the anime came before a manga, and a bunch of manga adaptations and side stories have come in the wake of this series. But he was very depressed when he was creating this, and you see that with essentially every character and their tragic backstory. And, people look into the biblical meanings and the angels and the symbolism for deeper meaning, but he said in the past that it's just kind of there because he liked it, he thought it was cool, so there's really not a whole lot of deeper meaning. I guess you can infer the deeper meaning, but it's kind of just there because it's edgy. That's how I see it. But and I do like Seilei essentially is the Illuminati group. I think there are 13 members, if that means anything, and they're like just the shadowy group. And you also have the Lance of Longinus, like I said, the angels and all their names. The Seilei, they're always talking about the Dead Sea Scrolls too, so there's all sorts of biblical references. When the angels attack, there's explosions and a cross appears, just stuff like that. But anyway, Shinji is there. He's sort of waiting at a bus stop. I'll sort of summarize a few episodes, sort of the noteworthy episodes. But if I were to talk about every episode, I'd probably go on for an hour. And there's been videos talking about Evangelion going on for an hour. But anyway, so Shinji's there. He's waiting for a bus, and all of a sudden there's all the explosions. The UN helicopters and jets are all attacking the Angel, and Misato comes racing by in her car, get in, kid, we gotta go to Nerve, you gotta meet your father. And Shinji's this nervous, oh, my father. And people have criticized Shinji in the past for sort of being this nervous kid and awkward, almost like an incel. And get in the fucking robot, Shinji. That's the meme. But the thing is, if I were in Shinji's shoes, I would probably feel the same way, because his mother died, his father disowned him. He's moved from place to place. He has no friends. I mean, what would you do in that situation, really? I mean, come on. So I don't fault Shinji at all. I know a lot of people are if Shinji just got the damn robot, we could have saved the world. So he makes his way to Nerve and ends up piloting Eva Unit 1, fighting against the Angel. And really, he doesn't know what the hell he's doing, because they're kid, get in the robot and pilot the thing and fight this giant monster. And he doesn't know what the fuck to do. So he's getting his ass kicked. And throughout the series, there's lots of blood and gore eventually, and also language and like I said, crazy themes and plot to follow. But Shinji's getting his ass kicked until the Eva starts to pilot itself and dismembers the Angel that he's fighting. And there's all this terminology too. You saw in the little opening I played that it says absolute terror field. Well, throughout the whole series they keep calling it the AT field, and it's sort of like the defense that both the Angel and the Eva has. And I don't really like how they when they refer to it, it's the AT feel. Obviously it's more quick. I feel it would have been more badass if someone shouted, activate the absolute terror field. That would have been so much cooler. So they call it the AT field. And, the Angels are all attacking. And you learn the reason why they're attacking. And that's because the first Angel, Adam, is kept in the basement of Nerve headquarters. So all the Angels are trying to retrieve Adam, but the humans want Adam to initiate Seilei's plan of human instrumentality, which is their idea of basically killing everybody to have them form with one. To create the new world order almost. That's how I interpret it anyway. So you have those plot threads going on as more and more characters are being introduced. You meet Rei Ayanami, which there's this really awkward scene how Shinji meets him where he's delivering, I forget what it's her schoolwork, or it's the key code to get into Nerve, and her door is unlocked. She's not answering the door, so he just barges in, and there's all these bloody bandages everywhere, And, he's just awkwardly waiting there. She comes out of the shower naked, and she's, like, wrestling him, and he falls on top of her naked. Shinji gets in all these awkward situations, which is probably another reason why he's so isolated from people and doesn't want to, form relationships. But you meet other characters as he goes to school. Like early on, there's lighthearted moments where they're in school, and he meets Toji and Kensuke and Hikari. And, then he's home because, Misato becomes his guardian because Shinji doesn't want anything to do with his father, and his father doesn't want anything to do with him. And, they're home together. Misato has this pet penguin named Pen Pen, who has, like, his own room and can open doors. And Misato, she opens the fridge, and all that's in the fridge is cans of beer. That's all she drinks is beer. And it's like, it's just funny. And they all make fun. Like, Shinji has comments like, how are you not fat drinking all this beer, because she's 29. If I was drinking beer like that, I'd be like 300 pounds. But anyway, and there's these cute little scenes, too, with like, Toji and Kensuke walking Shinji home just so they can get a peek at Misato. But there's also a great moment, too, where, there's, training going on, and Shinji and Rei eventually have to team up. They're fighting Ramael, which I want to show you this, too. I have a few things I want to show you guys, but I'm not going to show you too much because I don't know how copyright's going to really handle what's going on here. But I do want to show you this one, because this is almost like one of the meme angels, Ramael, which, here it is. Just the sound it makes. Just listen to it. And that's the angel right there. It's like, it's just a giant, like, triangle thing. Just, woo, woo. And the angels are pretty fucking creepy making these sounds and stuff. I'll show you some of them. That's another one right there. I was kind of getting ahead of myself. But the very first angel that they fight is this guy. I mean, and they call this thing an angel. Just call him the fucking alien, But they're really quite creepy looking. Fighting them all throughout the series. So there you go. That's just a few of them. Oh yeah, we'll get to that one too. Just wait till we talk about that one with Toji. I think that's like episode 18 or so. But let's see if I can make that a little brighter. Okay. So yeah, Rei and Shinji have to team up, and Rei is ready to sacrifice herself, but Shinji saves her, and he has like a great talk of her, and he says, "Oh, why don't you smile?" So she smiles, and eventually, I'll just tell you now, you learn that Rei isn't necessarily human. And she's actually a clone of Shinji's mother, Yui. And that particular Rei that he's dealing with right now is the second Rei. And eventually we meet the third Rei. And oof. But then we meet Asuka around like episode 8 or 9. I'm Asuka. Asuka Langry Soryu. Charmed, huh? And she's just the fiery redhead. Some people don't really care for Asuka. I love Asuka. I think she's great. She's got a cocky attitude. There's the funny scene, too, like when they're all on the battleship meeting her because she's a German-Japanese child. And, they're meeting her, and Toji's hat flies off, and she steps on it. And Toji's, like, trying to grab the hat, and she says something like, "Oh, this is what you get for getting a peek up my dress or my skirt." It's a funny scene like that. And then all of a sudden, the angel starts attacking, and Asuka's not listening to anybody. Just gets in her Eva Unit 2. And starts fighting anyway, and makes quick work with the prog knife. And she's clearly the most talented of all the fighters, and she knows it. That's why she's so cocky. But a few episodes later, they fight this other angel who can split into two, and therefore Shinji and Asuka have to team up. And they do almost like a Dance Dance Revolution type training exercise. And there's a montage where they have they're sharing the headphones, and they have to sort of get in sync to a song, and that's sort of how they defeat the angel. And there's also a moment, too, when because Asuka starts living with Misato and Shinji, and there's a moment where she's in her room and comes out and, like, lays in the bed next to Shinji, and Shinji's, like, looking at her, because she almost does it, like, sleepwalking, like, and he's looking at her like, is she awake? What's going on? And he's almost getting ready for, like, a kiss, but then he turns away, and, instead of, like, laying in the bed next to her, like, snuggling or whatever, he ends up going on the floor, which, come on, dude, she's lonely, she's scared, they're fighting giant aliens, why don't you comfort her, dude? But, again, I can sort of see where he's coming from, because he's just been so traumatized throughout the years. But, things progress. We eventually meet another character named Kaji, who is the love interest of Misato, and he's a double agent getting intel on what Seilei's ultimate goal is, which, like I said, it's the Human Instrumentality Project to kill everybody and turn them into the LCL, one being, one world government, the Illuminati. If you can't tell, that's what they are. But, Kaji's great. There's multiple times when Shinji runs away because he can't do it. Because, like I said, if you were Shinji, would you be able to handle it? And I think it's Asuka and Rei. I forget who it was exactly, but they're fighting the one angel. Shinji's running away, and he comes across Kaji, who's watering his plants outside, and he's just doing it so nonchalantly, like, oh yeah, the giant robots are just fighting every day. It's all good. And he has a good heart-to-heart with Shinji and convinces him to keep going, but not because he has to, but because he wants to. It's like, what do you want, Shinji? Like, do you want to, like, for us all to die, or do you want to fight? Like, what is it that you want in life? Do you want recognition from your father? And eventually he does. He does something well, and his father does say, great job, son. And Shinji likes that, and he appreciates that. There's this internal struggle of what Shinji really wants. Like, is he just piloting the Eva because they're telling him to? Is he piloting the Eva because he wants to? Like, what is his goal in life? And that's when you learn more about the trauma of how his mother died and how she was actually a part of Seilei. And there's just all sorts of crazy exposition. As it goes on further, we learn that there's more Eva units coming into the fold. At this point, there's only 3. Unit 0, Unit 1, Unit 2. But Seilei wants to create more units. They talk about Unit 3 and 4, and then all the way up to 13, which we don't really get to in this series, but we do get to in the end of Evangelion in the movie. But they bring forth the 4th child, who ends up being Toji. However, Shinji doesn't know that, and they just know that this other Eva is going to join the battlefield. And what happens is, where is it? This one right here, right? Kind of looks like an Eva unit. So the angel possesses Toji's Eva Unit 3, and Shinji knows that an Eva pilot's in there, so he refuses to fight, and his father is overruling him and says we gotta use the dummy plug. So his unit goes completely berserk, Shinji's, and starts battling Toji's and destroys him almost to the brink of death. And I'll show you, I'm not going to play this just because it's so long, but you just search this, and you can watch it yourself if you haven't seen it already. And after the battle, you find out that Eva Unit 1 is this monstrosity. And it is essentially what the Evas are, is they're like part of Adam, the very first angel, modified with the protective plates to make it look like a mech suit. And there's a human soul in them. And I don't think you necessarily learn, this is just from my prior knowledge of the series, I don't think you necessarily learn in the anime series, but you learn more so in the movie that the soul of Unit 1, Shinji's, is Yui, his mother. The soul of Unit 2 is Asuka's mother. And that's how they're like able to pilot those things. So it's pretty crazy. And just seeing those scenes, absolutely terrifying. And, they ran out of money towards the end, which is why the ending's so controversial. And they sort of redid it multiple times. But towards the end, from episode 20 onward, there's a bunch of scenes like that in particular, for emphasis, showing that creepy-ass face of Eva Unit 1, where the characters are just talking, and you can see that in the background for a solid 3 minutes of nothing, and just the two characters talking and no frames moving whatsoever. So, after all this happens, Shinji once again refuses to pilot anything, and what happens is Asuka and Rei have to go on a mission. But Asuka can't pilot anything anymore either, because she's just, completely fucked up mentally, physically, and emotionally, and starts going through a breakdown. And again, I'm going to show you this scene. Well, not really show you, but direct you to search this and watch this, because this scene is absolutely terrifying. Asuka is reliving her past here, where she's a little girl, like, Mama, I'm going to be a pilot! And she's running to this room, and it keeps playing the same scene. It loops a couple times. She introduces herself again. I'm Asuka. Asuka Langry Soryu. Charmed, huh? Look at me, damn it, look at me. That's not the real me. And it repeats over and over again until finally she opens this door, and you see her doll hanging, which, implies, and eventually they tell you, the doll is really her mother who hung herself. And, that's Asuka's trauma right there. And then like the final few seconds of this clip, there's a scene of like little childish drawings and almost like a jump scare scream, like a harrowing scream. And it's absolutely terrifying, man. And it really gets, like I said, it starts out pretty, not really optimistic, but like I said, more lighthearted, and it gets pretty heavy, man. Especially seeing like Toji almost dying, and Toji's in the hospital, Asuka's in the hospital, and then Rei has to go out and fight, and Shinji's not wanting to do anything, but Rei's going out there fighting, and then she gets possessed by an Eva and ends up dying, But then Shinji sees her in the hospital, and she reveals that, because she's acting all different. It's like the first time he saw Rei, she's all bandaged up in the cast, in the eye patch and everything. And this Rei says, "I think I'm the third." To which you also see a scene where Misato and Ritsuka are in this basement with the dummy plugs, which are actually the Rei clones. And again, another creepy ass scene where there's all these naked Reis floating in the LCL, all giggling, smiling, really fucking creepy looking. And Ritsuka kills them all, presses this button, and all of a sudden you see floating arms, floating heads, blood everywhere. Fucking terrifying. So like I said earlier, Kaji was a double agent working with Seilei. Kaji eventually dies, gets killed because they find out about him, but he is able to send a message to Misato to tell him what's going on and how they got to stop the third impact. And because Shinji doesn't want to pilot anything anymore because he's seen so much death and carnage among his friends, he's just running away. To which he comes across the, fifth child, Karu. And this scene is always kind of weird to me because, he's been so standoffish to all these people he's met through the whole series, but immediately starts bonding with Karu and really likes Karu, and Karu really likes Shinji, friendly. And it's just kind of weird how he's like so easy to open up to him, but then eventually they find out that Karu, is going to be an Eva pilot and is syncing very well, but he is actually, let's get his name right, because he has a wacky ass name. Let me see if I can find it. Fuck. Right here. Yep, okay. Let me get the webcam. Sorry, I got all these tabs and trying. Right here. Tabris, right? That's Karu right there. And so he's essentially the reincarnation of Adam, the first angel. And then you see Adam, which I'll show you. I might as well show you him too. The fucking abomination that he is, right? That's Adam. And then you have Lilith on the cross. Like, just look at it, man. It's like all fucked up. And then so Shinji has to come to the realization that he has to kill Karu, because if Karu goes through his plan with the human instrumentality, everyone's going to die. So Shinji kills Karu, and he's completely distraught by it because he just met the guy, and it's like, he's dead. It's like, what the fuck? So then you get the last two episodes, which people don't really care for. Although, me rewatching the series now and having not watched the other movies quite yet, after many years, I found the ending to be okay. Essentially, it's all our characters: Misato, Asuka, Rei, Shinji, and they're all like sitting, being asked questions, reliving the past, and wondering what they want to do, how they want to advance in life, and why, And eventually, you have the famous scene of Shinji getting up and standing up for himself, and every character starts like clapping, "Congratulations! Everyone's doing the congratulations thing for him, including his father. And then it also has an ending with Misato being the new school teacher, and Asuka and Shinji like being good friends, and also his mother still being alive in this new world, and then Rei being the new girl running late to school, more outspoken. So as far as being like a more happy ending, I guess it's okay, but just based on how episode 24 was Shinji killing Karu and being completely depressed, to going to this, I don't know. So I'm going to have to watch the end of Evangelion to be even more depressed, I guess. But as far as just being like, extremely well animated, having great battles, and really having you think a lot about the series, it really did its job. It's one of the absolute classic anime series to watch. I highly recommend it. As far as, if you don't want to break the bank for this box set, they do have the cheaper $40 box set, which is just the Netflix dub and the two movies, but I wanted to watch the old school. I'm sure you can find it online. DVDs are really expensive if you are into physical media, so I'm not sure about that, but I'm going to be reviewing everything here. So for my next review, I'll be reviewing Death True Squared, which again, let's search that real quick, because like I'll show you on screen, and you tell me how I would pronounce this. So, right here, I can search it on YouTube. Evangelion, Death True Squared, right? You know, how do you pronounce that, man? So anyway, thank you all if you watched the video this far. I tried not to make it this long, but what are you going to do? It's a lot to talk about. I know there's people who have done reviews on Evangelion, and they're like hours long because there is a lot of subject matter. I didn't really want to talk much about like the religious symbolism because I feel like that's played out. And just because how the director mentioned in the past, he just did it to be edgy. Like, he didn't really put it in there for symbolism or anything. He was depressed, and he wanted to be edgy. He said that in the past. So, thank you all for watching. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. And stay tuned as I review the next movies, and eventually, the Rebuild movie. So, thanks, everybody. Have a great day, and stay tuned.